Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSL Code S. I'm Tasteless. With me is Artosis, and we got some pretty sick games here today. Our first matchup's going to be PvP Killer against Inca. What do you think?
I think that this is going to be actually a great match. I thought at first that Inca might be a little bit hugely favored.
A little bit hugely
favored. The guy, has he ever lost a PvP?
No.
Like maybe a game? Maybe two.
No, actually, I don't believe
he is a huge
really
win percentage.
At least not in a series. He's never lost PvP.
I thought he lost to Genius once. Crazy Blink Stalker finish.
But in a best of three, I think he still won that. I could be wrong, but
I'm going to go with he's lost one best.
This guy is the most established PvP player. The only other person I can think of, is MC.
And
exactly.
MC's on his team, so guess who he gets to practice with? You kidding me? His PvP is just insane. It's insanity.
However, he's against Killer, a good friend of ours.
We're getting right into things there, aren't we?
We just cut right to the chase. He's going to be against Killer, a good friend of ours, Songho.
Yeah, in fact, we were talking to him backstage.
And he was yelling at you because Dan predicted on Play XP that Inca would win. He's about to like, Dan, I'm your friend. How could you say that? It was pretty hilarious.
I got berated for a little bit.
Yeah, it was about 10 minutes of him yelling at you and me, standing behind him, giggling. It was pretty funny, though.
It's fine. It's not the first time, nor will it be the last.
I didn't want to say anything, but like I actually
you predicted it too.
I did, but for some reason he didn't know that, so that's fine.
You sneak in there, man, all the time.
I know, man. I managed to wiggle my way out of situations like that. Before we talk any further, let's take a look at the results of our previous GSL. As you can see, Top losing pretty badly,
pretty
against
decisively.
Nada. You know anything about Nada? He's so good at kind of controlling the direction that the Terran vs. Terran matchup is going in, and as good as Top's macro was, he never got in a position where he could start to macro up. And then our the next series that we had was SC really outclassing Lucira. I mean, he looked like he was in another league above Lucira. I really think
he had some great strategies planned.
SC could get to the finals. It really could happen.
He's so quietly so awesome. I don't know what to say.
I know. And, of course, the round 8 brackets. Artosis, take it away.
Well, we already had that top bracket. We're doing the bottom bracket today. Killer versus Inca, and then Nesty against any pro. That is, I think that might be the most exciting match of the whole round of 8.
I think it might be, actually. I do want to point out, for our final 4, it will be a Terran vs. Terran Nada against SC. So both these guys have really shown that they got some pretty solid play. The big question is going to be, can SC manage to finesse his way out of Nada's somewhat domineering style? He really does control.
He does.
How
but
the game
SC,
is going to develop.
The kid is just solid in everything. Man. Yeah. All I can think about with SC now, there's 2 things I can think about: that terrible series against Lin, and the Marine Hellion harassment that he did in that last round. That was just.
Well, it's funny. It could have been Lin here, but and that would have been exciting as well because Lin's a really.
I was talking about like the old games against Lin.
I'm sorry. You're talking about the really old ones.
Leave the game.
Oh, right.
Get out of the game,
That was when we had some snarfy.
And then he won the series, and here he is.
Action.
But yeah, no, he might be able to take out Nada. Who knows, man?
I say this a lot, but I think on paper, what I'm supposed to predict is Nada, but you never know. Upsets do occur. Here's a shot of the few individuals who have managed to become champions here at the GSL. Some more than others, two-timers.
Might have another 2-time with Nesty.
Yeah, we could if Nesty managed to blow up. There is Songho, a.k.a. Killer.
Win rate against Protoss, 100%.
Yeah, that's what he was yelling at you about.
I know.
I have 100% win rate against Protoss.
I'm like, but you played 1 game.
Well, this guy, one of the few Koreans, the pro gamers here that actually has English, it's very easy to communicate with.
Yeah.
Him and MC.
He practiced that on myself in Puerto Rican for over a year, Tasteless.
I think he's actually the funniest person in the GSL. It's good he doesn't speak English. He wouldn't be here on the cast. We would lose our jobs.
No, we would invite him out for drinks and then bring him into an alley and double team him.
He'd wake up in a bathtub with his kidneys gone.
And his tonsils, his vocal cords, whatever.
Whatever he needs to cast.
He has no tongue. He's like,
Can we take his tongue away? That's like so terrible. Now on to Inca. This guy,
13-2.
13-2. That is pretty scary. Not 100%, but almost 100%.
That's like a quadrillion games.
Yeah.
Or 15.
Or 15, depending on how, if it's glass half empty, glass half full. Yeah, this guy's very scary at PvP. And I got to say, I don't know exactly what it would take to beat somebody like him because he doesn't seem to have any deficiency in the matchup.
He's pretty insanely good. But we were talking to Killer out back, and he has a really good game plan set out. He's going to try to force rock, paper, scissors situations. And he's good at rock, paper, scissors, man. He beat Tasteless, but I took him out.
Yeah, I lost him in rock,
Dude, you got to
paper,
always
scissors.
throw rock. I don't know what you were thinking with that paper.
You know, sometimes what I do is I make a funny-looking fist as I'm doing it. Like, I'm all excited.
Oh, you
like,
think he's a fist watcher?
And then, some people are fist watchers. And then what I do is right when it comes out, I make a super tight fist. Rock.
Oh, wow.
Totally
You
throws
know what
him
I
off.
do is I always throw rock, and if my opponent knows that, then I throw scissors.
Well, when you think about it, to do scissors probably takes the most hand muscles.
Well,
right?
It's
not
not
an
takes
easy
a lot
thing
of
to
thought
do
as well.
Yeah, you really got to think it out.
Scissors is actually.
I don't think most people default to scissors in rock, paper, scissors. When you
Scissors
really think
is
about
like proxy game. Tasteless.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, okay, like sometimes you're just going to get a win against someone who's trying to destroy the rock, which is the best thing there is.
I want to see a study, all right, that must have been done. I bet scissors is the least chosen one.
I'm sure
But
you're
I
right,
wonder
man.
what's-
It's 'cause rock's the best.
I think rock is pretty good.
That'd be stupid to choose the one that rock beats.
I can only keep my face straight for so long. Our map is going to be Taldirum Altar. This is a great map, especially for PvP, because there's a lot of different
here.
things you can do on this map.
I am so excited for this, Tasteless. I expect that we're going to see, well, you can either do 4-gate or you can go Blink Rush.
Right.
But of course, against Blink Rush, you can do other things. So it's a little bit tricky on this map, but I expect to see some 4-gate action because you can't really hold anything with force fields here.
That's right. Very, very true. I think the one thing they can't do is do any hyper-fast tech, so no Hong and GT rushes that result in losses no matter what your opponent does. All right, it's game time, head-to-head. Killer, Songho against Inca, who just heard me his name I do not know, so I kind of messed that intro up. But I'm sure we'll get better just from here. So get ready with Tastes and Artosis here at the GSL. All right, over here in the bottom right, we have, I think, the worst ID in the GSL. We always make fun of him for this. He is...
GSL Killer.
Ooh!
Whoa, a gun!
She gets a 10 out of 10 for that.
That was the best intro I've seen.
It was.
She's bringing the gun into the rock, paper, scissors.
Wow.
Rock, paper, scissors, gun.
Huh.
Can't beat the gun. All right. Over here in the upper left.
oGsInCa.
Whatever.
She's the one I have a crush
Not
on.
a huge fan,
She's the
but-
one I have a crush on, Artosis.
There's. Oh, yeah.
Don't you talk about her that way, Artosis. I will marry her, Artosis.
Oh, my.
You don't know what love is, Artosis. After knowing
I'm
you
gonna
love
give-
somebody after seeing them,
I'm gonna-
2-second video clip to talk about my future wife that way.
I'm going to give the worst ever best man speech at your wedding with her, Tasteless. That little
Okay.
chapel in Las Vegas.
Okay.
All right. So, pretty exciting, this match, Tasteless. I want to see who's going to go for Blinkstalker first. The odds of seeing Robo on this map, very, very low.
Yeah, very low. But then again, a lot of this matchup is sort of centered around getting the opponent player's probe out to the base. Oh, there's a shot of MC.
And the win.
And
Watch
the win.
it. MC with a big grin on his face.
Yeah, man. His English has been improving a lot, by the way. And if you guys
get so good.
I don't know about Inca, but I do know that both Killer and MC are on Twitter.
Yeah. Maybe we should start tweeting their IDs more.
Yeah, I'll retweet some of the IDs here in a little bit. For you guys, you can add me on Twitter. I'm Call Me Tasteless, at Artosis. And, of course, add GomTV's Twitter, which is now just GomTV, I believe.
Yeah.
That is correct. It's no longer GomTV
It's
net.
GomTV. If you want, John, Junka83.
No, nobody wants to talk to John.
How about Juani, though? Juani_. That's his ID. Add him.
The best person to follow on the Twitter is actually a guy named Sulk, who is a writer for Family Guy. And his tweets are the most hilarious things I've ever read.
They're not as hilarious as your tweets.
No. I was
Shut up,
obviously.
Tasteless. You're more funny.
We have a Zealot now chasing the probe. You always want to be sure to never let the Zealot even get one swipe up on the probe because the probes die pretty fast.
Killer getting an extra probe already. Interesting. Normally you do stop at 20 probes for a regular 4-gate. Perhaps see Killer's plan may be to get 22 probes. Higher econ 4-gate. More defensive.
What?
There's Inca's gates going up. He's getting ready, Tasteless.
Now,
Killer should be throwing his up right about now.
I want to see how many times Inca's actually going to 4-gate in this matchup, because he does so many different builds.
Yeah.
This is the guy that was getting away with doing Void Ray builds early on. StarCraft PvP was the only guy doing it too. Now in this case, I think due to the architecture of the entrance of the bases here, they are both going to decide to 4-gate.
Oh my God, Tasteless! We have over near the third base of Killer, just as his Stalker left. Inca's probe came in, made a pylon, and I think we are going to see a great timing by Inca, running in behind these units with Stalkers, flanking them. This is really bad for Killer. He had a Stalker over there to stop exactly what just occurred.
This is a lot of what PvP has boiled down to, is doing sneaky stuff with that probe.
And it's happening, Tasteless.
This is not good.
4 Stalkers on the way to Killer's base. Killer had checked it, and he was literally half of a second from seeing that probe go over there, and the game would be completely different, but it's not. This sometimes happens in PvP where you literally lose by a half second. It was just outside the vision.
And I like how he takes out 3 probes.
He might actually he might be able to flank here. Oh my God, Tasteless. Inca's units are so far behind. We're going to have to see. Is warping in some more units.
And nice choice to get some Zealots in there to tank some damage so the Stalkers can hunt down the soften up Stalkers here.
Right now.
Killer, go ahead.
Inca is force supply ahead. Killer warping in more Zealots. He's got to be careful about making Zealots though, because the more Stalkers of Inca coming in.
Inca's got to be careful. One of those Stalkers in the yellow is going to be tough to micro that in the back, and then right as I said that, it magically slipped back there. Okay, so these Stalkers and 2 Zealots now continue to move down. A little bit more Zealots here coming from Killer, which means it's going to be Inca that's going to have to turn around first.
Killer has to be careful because Inca has a lot more Stalkers right now, and at the end of the day, having more Stalkers is better than Zealots. You do need some to tank to make the other Stalkers kite, but 5 Stalkers, Tasteless, is not enough. His opponent does have 7. So as these Zealots attack each other, Inca actually can do a lot of things. He can either target down Zealots quickly, or try to, as we just saw there, target down a Stalker.
I think a little bit of mismicroing there by Inca, trying to dip in and start shooting the Stalkers. The Zealots started swiping, and remember, Zealots deal damage faster than Stalkers do.
Oh, and a mess up by Killer, not withdrawing all his Zealots at the same time. And Killer catching up on the Stalker count. That's exactly what he needs to do, but now he is a Zealot down, 2 Zealots down now.
Now with no Zealots here for Killer, that small window of time is going to get enough for Inca to do some game-changing damage here. And I think that it might actually be
it looks like it's
straw that broke the camel's back. And now that camel is in a wheelchair. He doesn't have health insurance. That poor camel with a broken back.
That is really sad, Tasteless. And he doesn't even want to drink water.
Now we see... again, this is I want to point out here, the few times that Inca has just shot down a few probes here has really damaged the economy. If you look at the unit counting tab, Inca's 2 probes ahead, which is actually pretty big.
Killer started 2 probes in, so he's lost 4 probes during this.
Yeah, exactly. So that actually is a lot. Actually, consider it's a matchup with a small number of workers.
He is quite dead, and we're going to see him GG momentarily here. Inca coming in, getting great surface area, sending his Zealots in, and there's just not going to be much left for Killer to do. You know, he's microing his heart out, but Inca, there's too many Stalkers left.
Yeah, that is it. Expect GG any second now.
All right. So, Inca takes game number 1. Very interesting game right there. Let me go over what happened with Inca. He's like, well, another day at work. It's what I do. I also drink this stuff. It's delicious.
It's the blood of another nerd.
And Killer not happy with that.
Well, he's off to a bad start, that's for sure.
But anyways, let me explain exactly what we just saw. The part that I was ranting raving about it costing him the game.